Hello, my smart scientists. Welcome back to another exciting science class. Today we are going to discover one of nature's greatest superheroes, the leaf. Have you ever wondered how plants prepare their own food without using a kitchen? Isn't that amazing? By the end of today's lesson, you'll know the parts of a leaf, different vein patterns, and the magical process called photosynthesis. We'll also solve fun questions and become leaf detectives. So put on your thinking caps, keep your eyes open, and let's begin our green adventure. Before we start, let's see our mission for today. Can you guess what we'll learn? First, we'll identify the 5 important parts of a leaf. Then we'll compare 2 interesting vein patterns, parallel and reticulate venation. After that comes the most exciting topic, photosynthesis, the way plants make food. We'll learn what plants need, what they produce, and finally solve a few Olympiad questions. By the end of the lesson, you'll be able to explain these concepts confidently. Ready? Give yourself a thumbs up, and let's move ahead. Look carefully at a leaf. It may look simple, but it has many important parts. The lamina is the broad, flat green part where food is prepared. Think of it as the leaf's kitchen. The petiole is the small stalk that joins the leaf to the stem, just like your arm connects your hand to your body. The midrib is the thick line running through the center, giving support. From it branch out the veins, which carry water and food, just like roads carry vehicles. Finally, the pointed end is called the apex. Memory trick. LPMVA. Lamina, petiole, midrib, veins, apex. Can you point to these parts on a nearby leaf? Now let's learn a new word, venation. Venation simply means the pattern made by veins inside a leaf. There are 2 main types. In parallel venation, the veins run side by side like railway tracks. You can find this in grass, wheat, rice, banana, and maize. In reticulate venation, the veins form a network, just like a fishing net or spider web. Mango, neem, rose, hibiscus, and tomato leaves have this pattern. Here's a quick question. Which pattern looks more like a net? That's right, reticulate venation. Let's compare both types together. Imagine drawing straight lines on paper. That's similar to parallel venation. Now imagine drawing a web like Spider-Man, that's reticulate venation. Most long and narrow leaves usually have parallel venation. Broad leaves usually show reticulate venation. A fun fact: scientists also connect these patterns with plant groups. Parallel venation is common in monocots, while reticulate venation is common in dicots. Can you think of one plant from your garden that has broad leaves? Check its veins later and see if they form a net. Now comes the magic. Plants don't order food or cook in a kitchen. They prepare their own food using photosynthesis. For this process, plants need 3 things: sunlight, water from the roots, carbon dioxide from the air. These are called raw materials. After making food, plants produce glucose, which is their food, and release oxygen, which we breathe. Think of a leaf as a tiny solar-powered kitchen. Isn't nature wonderful? Who remembers which gas plants take from the air? Next, roots absorb water from the soil and send it upward. Then tiny pores called stomata take in carbon dioxide from the air. Inside the leaf, chlorophyll captures sunlight energy. Using this energy, the plant makes glucose and releases oxygen. Here's a simple equation: carbon dioxide plus water plus sunlight, right pointing arrow glucose plus oxygen. Fun fact: without photosynthesis, there would be no food for plants, animals, or humans. Life on Earth depends on this amazing process. Have you ever wondered why leaves are green? The answer is chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is the green pigment inside leaves that captures sunlight. You can think of it as tiny solar panels working all day. Without chlorophyll, plants cannot make food. That's why green leaves are so important. Did you know? Even cactus plants have chlorophyll. Since their leaves become spines, the green stem performs photosynthesis. Quick challenge: if chlorophyll disappeared from a plant, could it prepare food? Think for 5 seconds. Correct. The answer is no. Let's revise everything quickly. Parallel venation means veins run side by side. Examples include grass, wheat, rice, maize, and banana. Reticulate venation means veins form a network. Examples include mango, neem, rose, hibiscus, and tomato. For Olympiad students, remember this easy trick. Grass equals parallel, mango equals reticulate. And don't forget, during photosynthesis, carbon dioxide is a raw material. Can you say together? Carbon dioxide goes in, oxygen comes out. Excellent. Time for a fun classroom game. Question 1. If a leaf has veins like railway tracks, what type of venation is it? Pause for students. Yes, parallel venation. Question 2. Which gas do plants release during photosynthesis? That's right, oxygen. Question 3. Which part joins the leaf to the stem? Correct, petiole. Last question. Which green pigment captures sunlight? Wonderful. Chlorophyll. Fantastic work, detectives. You're solving these like real scientists. Let's quickly revise today's lesson. Today we learned the 5 parts of a leaf: lamina, petiole, midrib, veins, and apex. We compared parallel and reticulate venation. We discovered that photosynthesis uses sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide to make glucose and oxygen. Remember, sunlight plus water plus carbon dioxide equals food plus oxygen. Please complete your homework questions after class. Practice makes learning stronger. Before we finish, let's test ourselves. Question 1. What is the flat green part of a leaf called? Question 2. Which venation is found in grass? Question 3. Which raw material do plants take from the air? Question 4. What food do plants make? Question 5. Which green pigment captures sunlight? If you answered lamina, parallel venation, carbon dioxide, glucose, and chlorophyll, give yourself a big clap. Excellent work today, everyone. Keep observing plants around you, because every leaf has an amazing story to tell. See you in the next science class. Happy learning!